don't know sometimes if the things that I'm going to say would upset certain people that I know if they heard them or if they just had really never thought about the things that I'm bringing up. I'm going to bring up one today that I think is pretty important, and I don't know if a lot of people have just not considered it or if they think it's okay what they're doing or allowing to be done. The subject for today is going to be young children, and I'm going to talk about that on the Daily Summation from Kurt's Religion and Politics. I'm your host, I'm Kurt. Today is Wednesday, the 16th of March of 2022. Welcome to everyone who's here on Rumble, on the podcast, on YouTube, on BitChute, on CloudHub, on my Facebook page. That's Kurt's Religion and Politics page on Facebook, on Locals.com. That's Kurt's Religion and Politics.locals.com, on Minds, MINDS.com. Yes, you guessed it, the Kurt's Religion and Politics group on Minds.com, on Parler, on Gab, on Twitter, or anywhere else that you happen to be picking me up today. And again, the subject for today is going to be young children, and I'm going to go ahead and get into the notes to sort of set a baseline so that you have some idea sort of where I'm going today. I don't know about you, but I do not think an old-fashioned pinup calendar featuring scantily clad 17-year-olds is a good idea. In fact, where I'm not so much about the law as a lot of folks, that's one thing I think deserves the full force of it. Simply put, it seems to me a person creating such a thing, and maybe, and I would actually say probably, anyone wanting such a thing, particularly if they're an adult, should probably find him or herself in an extended stay in the local penitentiary. If I feel that way about 17-year-olds, and you can be sure I do, imagine how I feel about 10-year-olds, or people age 5 or below. Anywhere actually from 10 down, really, for sure. 12 down maybe. Probably 12 down would be more accurate. The level of evil in such an idea, in my way of thinking about things, is pretty darned high. So when I see pictures of little girls, 5 to maybe 8, in scanty cheerleading outfits, I can tell you I'm not only not pleased, but I find it more or less criminal. As a child, I cannot imagine a parent having, let's just put it this way. I think I've misstated this a little bit. I can't imagine a parent having allowed their child to dress up as so many do today. And I'm not just talking about cheerleading outfits either. By the way, it also used to be badly looked on to pierce the ears of young ladies forget about young men. If they weren't at least teenagers, that was just generally not a thing. In my way of thinking about things, you truly have to ask yourself whether the moves towards normalizing either piercing of ears or scanty clothing for teenagers and below, are anything like good. For my part, I don't tend to think so. The idea of children wearing pants that accentuate every part of their physical self, and I want to get into something about that later on because it's going to sound like I'm a hypocrite in a bit here, seems to me to be a way to tell perverts out there, at least, let your imagination go wild. And considering they're pretty definitely broken individuals, you can believe they might just act on the thoughts born out of those imaginings. Am I saying such folks should be allowed or able to do that kind of thing? The pervert types should be allowed to do those things to kids? Not for a living minute. Am I considering, things happen that are not discovered until after the fact? Sadly, yes, I am. And I can give you some instances and some examples that would curl your chest hair if you happen to be a sane, rational, moral human being. And I'm not making any great claims about that for myself, by the way. I just want you to know that. I have a similar attitude about such things as I do about attractive ladies running around in various states of undress or provocative clothing. It's actually different in that such folks, if adult, are at least making that choice for themselves. it's no less a true thing that there are predators out there who will be drawn to such folks. It's just true. With children, though, it's really not their idea to dress provocatively, or if it is, they should be dissuaded in no uncertain terms by parents and or guardians. Period. I get that being forced to not dress certain ways is a curtailment of your rights. I want to wear jeggings or whatever. If someone else tells you not to do so, I get it. I do. That's not what's happening here. I grant that I believe in modesty, and I try to attire myself in ways that don't. I try not to attire myself in ways that don't support that ideal. As a grown-up, though, you do the same or not at your peril. You make the decision as an adult. I'm sorry, but I don't see that as a reasonable thing where children are concerned. Parents or guardians should be looking out after their well-being. Part of that should be mode of dress. That's my 2 cents. Welcome to them. Now, I want to throw down a caveat. When I was a young man, my oldest child, who is now in her 30s, used to wear, I don't even know what the proper name for them is. They were essentially body-hugging pants. And for the life of me, looking back, I don't know why I allowed... Well, I do know, because I was a heathen at the time. I was an idiot and I was a heathen at the time. But I allowed her to wear those things, which her mom bought for her. I never bought clothes for my kids because I wasn't smart enough to do that when I was younger. I have since, and I do for my son now, and I would never buy him anything that was body-hugging to be seen on the outside. I don't do that, and I don't think it a good idea. Looking back, I was an idiot, and I let my oldest child wear that kind of clothing. You can call it hypocritical if you want, but I really believe we should work back to a place. Really, the law is not the answer, as a rule, just so you know. I don't really believe the law is the answer anyway. I honestly believe the answer is for people who are significant and who are elder to get people who are younger into a place where they understand that they or their children are in for various problems as a result of wearing revealing clothing. Okay? It's just not complicated. It's just not. I understand people saying that it's not fair that they can't dress like they want and not reap results or, quote, rewards. I get it. But let me just tell you something. I'm not coming after you. It's not happening. You can drop your drawers in front of me unless we're in a relationship, a significant relationship, really a marital relationship, and you're roughly my age or a little bit younger. I'm not interested. I'm sorry. Don't get me wrong. You're probably maybe attractive, but I'm not interested. I'm not doing that. And I've never had it in mind that that was a reasonable thing to do. So, for example, as a 20-year-old to prey on 12-year-olds. I've never had that in mind. When I was 20-year-old, 18-year-old, whatever, that was not okay exactly, but at least I understood it. But as a person who's 20 or 18 years old and looking at a 12-year-old or an 8-year-old, that's not okay. And if you're older than that, it's definitely not okay. All right? And what we need to do is work towards improving the culture to make it so. Somebody was talking about that stupid movie that I never watched and would not have anything to do with, Cuties. We need to make it so that that sort of thing is shunned like the plague. That's what we need to do. I'm sorry, that's how that needs to be. It needs to be a matter of culture, not really law. And so I kind of recant my earlier statement a little bit, though I think the law does have a place in dealing with stuff like that. That all being said, I really need to wrap things up. This has been the Daily Summation from Kurt's Religion and Politics. I'm your host. I'm Kurt, and today is Wednesday, the 16th of March of 2022. That means tomorrow will be Thursday, heading towards that end of the week, today being what most folks consider the middle of the work week. Tomorrow will be Thursday, the 17th of March of 2022. Thank you for everyone who's been here on Rumble, on the podcast, on YouTube, on BitChute, on CloudHub, on my Facebook page. That's Kurt's Religion and Politics. On Facebook, the page is called Kurt's Religion and Politics. On kurtzreligionandpolitics.locals.com, on Minds, MINDS.com, and that's the Kurt's Religion and Politics group primarily there, on Parler, on Gab, and if you happen to see me on Twitter, subject for today, remember that you can give me various kinds of feedback, and I appreciate it if you do. Obviously, also, if you subscribe, that's not something that will upset me terribly either, but I really would prefer you watch than subscribe. But remember that you can give me various kinds of feedbacks. That's typically like or dislike, thumbs up, thumbs down, plus, minus, which all roughly mean the same thing. And then there are some others on, I think it's CloudHub and maybe on BitChute, I don't remember now, but you can give me whatever feedback is available, and that includes commenting on whatever it is that I put out there. And I may reply to your comment if I see that that's a reasonable thing or believe that's a reasonable thing. I may give you a thumbs up, thumbs down, like, dislike, plus, minus, whatever, if I see your content out there, your comment out there on my content, I may delete your comments if I believe you're trying to hurt other people or advertising on my content. Okay, I'm not at all with that. I'm sorry. So that's pretty much what I thought I was missing there. So let me tell you again, the subject for today has been young children. Tomorrow we are going to talk about making your environment, and this is something I wish more people understood, but I'll get into that more tomorrow. Hope you're having a good day today, that everything is going well for you, and hopefully we will see you again on Thursday's edition of the Daily Summation from Kurt's Religion and Politics. The speaker on this edition of the Daily Summation is Kurt Schubert. This podcast was created on Wednesday, the 16th of March of 2022. The Daily Summation is created for Kurt's Religion and Politics. Thanks for watching this edition of the Daily Summation from Kurt's Religion and Politics. I hope you found it entertaining or instructional, or maybe both. If you want to see more from me, you can go to blogs.kpschubert.com. That's blogs.kpschubert.com. I am on Twitter, Parler, and Minds.com. My handle on each of those is @kpschubert. That's @kpschubert. I have a Rumble and a YouTube channel. They are the Kurt's Religion and Politics channels on Rumble and YouTube. I have a Facebook page. The Facebook page is Kurt's Religion and Politics as well. I am on Patreon. If you want to support me, that's one of the better places you can do that. And you will find me at Kurt's Religion and Politics on Patreon. I have a podcast. The podcast is podcasts with an S. .kpschubert.com. That's podcasts.kpschubert.com. I think you should be able to find me with relative ease on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify as well. The best way I find to do that is to look for Kurt's Religion and Politics. You can try to use the Daily Summation. I find that it doesn't work as well as a general rule, but you can always try that. I'm glad to have you aboard today, and hopefully we will see you again tomorrow.